start with a beautiful speaking. And what we're going to do in this speaking is I'm going to ask you, first of all, where are you from?
Okay, so I'm from Rajpura, that's in Punjab, and it's between Chandigarh and Patiala. It's also called the Gateway of Punjab, so it's where the whole Punjab starts off.
And where are you right now? At home or somewhere else?
I am at my home.
Oh, you're at your home. This background is very lively, 3D, and absolutely perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's much better because it's real. All right, that wasn't really a question. So we'll go on. My next question is, what do you have to do in your past two time in your pastimes? What do you get to do in your pastimes?
So in past times, I usually relax and just to understand, past times is to pass my time.
Pastime here in this sentence means leisure time, means free time. What do you do
Yeah,
in your
free time.
free
Okay.
time?
Uh, okay. So in my pastime, I really like to relax, and either if I am not doing that, I take a nap, or generally I binge watch on some series on Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Very well, then let's talk about museums. Do you like visiting museums and art galleries?
Well, yes, I really like to visit museums and art galleries. They actually have a lot of collection of art, and for museums, you can learn about like historic things that are there to see. So I really enjoy visiting them once in a while.
Do you often visit museums?
No, not often, but once in a while when I am on some trip and there is a museum that is like famous, so I really like to visit it.
When was the last time you visited a museum?
So last time maybe it's an year ago or so when I visited Newcastle. So there was a museum. Actually, it was a church museum wherein they had old Catholic stuff that was there. How the prayer meets were happening in the past. Everything was displayed. So that was the last museum that I visited.
What did you learn from visiting museums and art galleries?
So from museum, they give us a lot of idea about past, about a lot of like if you visit a museum on which has fossil remains, then you can learn about how animals were there in the past. And if you visit art galleries, it gives you a lot of idea of the art that is upcoming, and there are very important artists that show off their art, and I think you can learn a lot from them.
Do you think museums are useful for visitors to your hometown?
Sorry, visitors.
Do you think museums are useful for visitors to your hometown?
Well, yes, I think museum adds a value to tourism. So I think people who visit my hometown, they can have visiting a museum in their itinerary, and I think it adds a lot of value as they get to know about the hometown, about the past, as to how it was. So I think it adds great value to tourism.
Do you think museums are important?
Yes, I think museums are important. They let you learn a lot about past, as I already said. So I think children and the visitors, they can learn a lot about uh, the things that are there in the museum.
Which do you prefer to visit, museums or art galleries?
Well, I would like to visit art galleries more because I think they show us more things of present, and I think art is more interesting than in the past things.
Do you think schools should take their students to visit museums and art galleries?
But yes, for sure, students should be made to visit these art galleries and museums because they can learn a lot from them.
Why is it boring for children to go to museums?
Children, when they visit museum, they can learn about a lot of and sometimes like if suppose they have something that they are reading on in their classrooms and then they visit a museum which has same sort of stuff which they read about, I think they can link things and can learn better.
Right then, how can we make museums interesting for children?
Well, I would suggest like children should have an activity wherein when they visit museum, they should have some uh, pre-learning about the thing that they are going to see. I think when they already know about the thing, they can like link it to the objects that they see. Like suppose if they are reading a chapter in the history and they know that they are going to visit a museum which has those things, I think that would um, like make that would have their imagination like running and they would be able to learn more.
There are many museums in your hometown.
No, in my hometown there are no museums, but there are some of them nearby. So none of them are there in my hometown.
Earlier, I asked you a question regarding visitors finding useful, museums in your hometown, and you said yes, that is very interesting, but you didn't mention whether you had museums or not. So now, are you sure that there are no museums there? So I got you on this one, huh? So you gotta be careful. You gotta make sure whatever you have said before is still legitimate during the test time. Especially in your case, this is a general case, so you don't wanna make any mistakes. In general, they want the truth. So you gotta just
Okay.
stick to your plan. If museums were sounding like good in your hometown for visitors, then you can say, yeah, we don't, or you can turn the questions answer a little bit around. Well, we really don't have an official museum, but we have like smaller museums, like small things where people can see history and religion, like in some temples. So these are also considered as museums, and that's the one I was talking about earlier. And yes, we have those ones, but we don't really have any. Then I can consider it. But you're just telling me no, there are no museums earlier. You just told me something else. So it's kind of contradicting your
Yeah.
own statement. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, what that
Yes.
means is truth matters in your answers, not in academic, but definitely in your position. So, what would your answer be now? Are there many museums in your hometown?
Well, I would not say many, but there are a few, which I think attract a lot of visitors, and these are the ones wherein that's related. The ones are related to history, so I think a lot of people like to visit them and see how the uh, past things were there.
Did you go to any museum when you were a child?
Well, I think as a child, I have not really visited any museum. Uh, I think so. I can't say any of it.
I don't remember having visited any. You're supposed to produce sentences nonstop, not gestures, okay? Gestures won't get you any marks. A lot of people have a lot of gestures ability. They can take all the marks if gestures have any marks, okay? So you will have to say something like, I don't remember any museums I went to. If at all I did, it is not in my mind. As far as I know, we went some places, but it's not a, it wasn't a, whatever it was. Or maybe I did. I can't recall very well. So I guess you didn't go to any museums. Let's go on to the next topic. It is about TV programs. What types of programs do you like to watch?
Well, I really don't watch much of TV now. But earlier, as a child, I was really interested in seeing the Discovery Channel, wherein you had a lot of things that you could learn as a child. So there were programs on wildlife. There were programs on having new different scientific inventions, and there were other learning programs that were there. But as I grew up, I think I lost my interest in TV. So I don't really enjoy much of programs. But in general, I like to see some comedy shows whenever I have some time.
What benefits people can get from watching foreign programs?
Well, watching foreign programs can be really beneficial in the sense that a person learns about culture. Another thing that I think it's learning about the language. Whenever you see the program of any other country, you would be intrigued and you would want to know about how they are pronouncing words and how what actually is happening. Because generally, when you don't understand the language, then it's difficult to connect things. So I think when you watch a foreign program, it it, it instigates you to learn a new language and also know about the culture.
In your country, is it possible to watch any TV programs in English?
Yes, of course, it's possible to watch programs in English. There are many available. We have different channels which provide different language programs. And I think apart from TV now, since we have these OTTs wherein you can watch content in different languages.
Okay, I'm going to give you your cue card for today. It is describe a company where you live that employs a lot of people. It'll be on your screen just now, and then you'll have 1 minute for it.
So there are many companies which I've seen which employ a lot of people, but today I would like to talk about Times of India. That's a big group, and I think everybody would have heard about it. So Times of India has a lot of businesses in which it is into. The basic one is news. So since it's a big organization. Therefore, a lot of people are there to work in it. It has its building in Sector 16, Noida. It has a huge campus. So it's like a cluster of 3 or 4 buildings that are together. Along with that, it has a building across the road wherein they have it separately for Ghana.com. That is another part of it that's there. And the building generally the building is a glass building, and it's actually very huge. And the building is as I mentioned, there are 2 buildings. So one is used for this news part, and the other one is for development office for Ghana.com. That's a very renowned app. So there are a lot of people that work in Times of India, and it's really crowded whenever you go to that part of the city. And there are many other offices as well close by, but this building it takes attention because it's really tall. And my father had been telling me that when Times of India started, it was a small group, but as it grew by, I think he told me it would employ thousands of people, and that is the truth. That it has around 20,000 people who are working under Times of India group, not which are separated by different buildings that they work in. But the major office of it is the one which is in Sector 16. It's really renowned, and it is because of which many other news offices have created their own workplace in the same location, just to tackle the maybe the competition or other things.
Time is up. Fine, let's do some questions related to it. Is it easy to find a job in your country?
Well, uh, I'm on the fence. It's easy in terms when you have good scores, you are good in you have good academics, and you are good in the field that you have chosen. Then I think if you get a campus placement, then you feel it's easy. But on the other hand, it right now, if you see, there's a lot of competition. So for one job, there are thousands of applicants. So I think it's difficult at that times.
What should the government do if there is unemployment?
Well, I think government needs to increase employment opportunities. They should have a clear data of how many people are unemployed, and for starters, it can give an unemployment incentives so that because sometimes people are free and they tend to go towards crime. But if they have something with which they can like deal with their daily things, I think that would help in reducing crime. And also, it gives a surety that government is going to take care of people. So I think an employment incentive and having more schemes wherein they can generate employment would be helpful.
Is a high salary important?
Yes, I think high salaries are important because they help you analyze your own growth. And with time, as you see, there are things are getting costlier. So if a person will not be able to afford basic things, then it would become difficult. So I think higher salaries help people to have a comfortable lifestyle.
Is it okay to do a job you like with a low salary?
Would you take a job with a low salary?
No. Is it okay to do a job you like with a low salary?
Well, yes, sometimes people take up jobs in low salary because of the kind of job. I think some people think their interest is more important than financial goals. So some people take up those kind of jobs, but I would rather argue that having a good salary is also important.
Are there many big companies in your country?
Well, yes, there are many big companies in my country, and I think we have a lot of them in IT sectors, and I think our country has become another hub for this sector. We have many development offices of larger companies in our country. So I think companies like Infosys, companies like Barclays, RBS, they all have offices in our country. So yes, my country has big companies.
How can a small company grow big?
There are a lot of things that a small company can do to grow big. First of all, is having a great idea. I think nowadays there are a lot of startups coming up, but I think there has to be a great idea for it to flourish. Second is having a good culture. If a company has a good culture, a lot of employees stay in the company and they put in efforts for the company's growth. Another is paying everyone. like on a reasonable level. That helps employees to retain. And with coming time, having good marketing strategies and good products, I think company can grow bigger.
Should big companies donate more for charities?
Well, I think yes, a lot of companies are into charities. They donate a lot of earnings to charities. It's a part of their contribution to the social environment, and I think yes, there are a lot of companies contributing.
Well, the question wasn't if there are lots of companies. The question was, should big companies donate more for charities?
I think due to some disturbance, I missed the first part. Other one comes clear.
No. And
So yes, I think
nowadays over there they are taking computerized speaking, which means you will be wearing a headphone. So you gotta get used to it. Okay. Any questions that skip
yeah.
by are gone, and you know that just happened with another one. Okay, so answer this one first. Should big companies donate more for charities?
Yes, I really think they should contribute to charity. It's part of the good work that they should do, and every company should be obliged to contribute to the society, and charity would be a good part.
Still, it's not perfect. Tell me what's not perfect. I want perfect answer related to the question. The question is, should big companies donate more for charities?
More, okay.
Yeah, so you gotta pinpoint the fact that yeah, it is their obligation to donate more. They're already so large. If they don't donate, what will the smaller ones donate? What will everybody else do for charity? Nobody's going to do anything if the big ones don't do, and that is what we are facing these days in our society. The big companies are donating nothing to any form of great charities, or considerable charities. Well, that's up to you. I just took the question way off. So answer it now.
So yes, I think they should contribute more to charities because I think they have a larger earning scale, and I think when they contribute to the charity, that would mean more. Smaller companies might not be able to contribute much because of their low earnings, but I think big companies can contribute more.
Should big companies be punished more seriously if they break the law?
If they
Break the law.
Well, yes, I think they should be punished more because big companies set an example for smaller companies in terms of culture, in terms of work, in terms of a lot of other things. So I think if there will be more strict laws and big companies would take it seriously, then I think small companies would learn from it.
What are the good things about working for a company?
Things about working for a company includes a lot of things like you get to know a lot of people who are there in the company. You get to know about what company is contributing up to because there can be a product, let's say it's in healthcare. It contributes a lot to people's health. So I think that gives you a sense of pride that okay, the work that I am doing is contributing somewhere to people's life. So I think knowing those factors, I think it contributes a lot when you are working for that company. So I generally feel that there are a lot of other factors as well, but for me, these are the factors that contribute.
Okay, excellent, good enough. That's the end of the speaking today.